Hey, welcome to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I got a review slash recommend for you today. For my dude Ranger Sly, he sent me an A-OK, a book that he recommended. It was, from one of his favorite like artists, writers, something like that. And he gave me like a little spiel on what it was, and then he sent me the book. So today we are going to be talking about, and I think this is IDW, IDW's Richard Stark's Parker, Book 1, The Hunted. I'm not going to do a full-blown review. It is pretty thick, but I am going to highlight some stuff. While reading this, I did not know, but this is Richard Stark is basically Donald Westlake, and Richard Stark is his pseudonym that he uses. Darwyn Cooke was allowed to use his pseudonym to do this book, to do this adaptation. Now, it was forewarned that this is basically payback. It is like adapted from his novel and then made into this graphic novel. It is art, but there is a lot of writing as well. When I first opened the book, it was mainly art. I don't know if this was single issues or if it was specifically a trade. I have other questions. We'll get into it. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. I will have Ranger Sly's. That is the recommendation and the request. I got it from Ranger Sly. I got the A-OK, gave me the book, so his information will be down below. But he wanted to know my thoughts, so here we go. The book is set up in 1962 New York. One of the best things about this book is the art. The art is just amazing. It is set up in an old school style of manner. I will say one drawback is the paneling. I wish there would have been like actual divides between the paneling, because sometimes it gets a little confusing, but for the most part I want to say like 90% it's pretty solid on panel to panel what's going on. When I first opened the book, as you could tell, there's not a lot of writing in the very, I want to say first 30 pages. It's all kind of setup of the book. But we're basically following a guy named Parker. If you've never seen the movie Payback with Mel Gibson, this is a revenge style story, action thriller kind of thing. But it's basically following this guy Parker, who was set up and then left for dead by his crew after a robbery gone wrong, and it's about him coming to get his money back after completing that mission. I will say in the book I was a little confused. I wasn't even sure if this was that story. I do love that movie, because the way the book starts out, it's just showing us what Parker's doing right after he's basically off the mend because he got shot. In the movie, he was shot in the back a whole bunch. In this, I think he was just grazed or something like that. And it's not really like he needed to mend or something. But it does show that he sets up a fake ID and all this stuff. And basically, he starts letting it known that he's back. Once he does make it back, his wife shows up, and that kind of spurs the whole. And I'm kind of randomly just fast pacing through pages. But basically his wife shows up, and that's mainly predominantly where we get to the meat of the story, and it finally connected to me. Okay, this is Payback. But basically the wife shows up. She ends up getting murdered in their sleep. They end up going to bed. Once that happened, it pretty much sets the whole revenge thing in motion. And he's basically chasing different mobsters throughout the book. The book is set up in a gray style, black and white. I'm not going to say black and white because it is a low shade of I want to say either green or maybe bluish gray. I don't know. But it's not necessarily black or white. But still, that motif, it does have that old school, I want to say the way it's drawn is a 1930s, 1940s kind of style. But even though it looks that way, it's still set, in the 60s, and you get that feel, especially from the automobiles, the clothing, stuff like that. In a nutshell, and I'm not going to go too into it if you've never seen the movie or if you've never read this, I highly suggest it because this was fantastic. I want to say from me only never reading the real novel and only seeing the movie and then reading this, I want to say there was only like two major scenes that was left out from the movie, and one being the Lucy Liu scene where she is a dominatrix, and that's how he ends up getting closer to one of the mobsters. Um, I do recognize this guy's art style. I want to say it reminds me of Paul Dini, like from the Batman animated, that kind of style of art. And he might be Darwyn Cooke might be connected with that. Um, but like I said, it was fantastic. Now, I have other questions, and because that's pretty much the review without giving too much of the spoilers, because it pretty much is a revenge style story. And once his wife ends up, getting murdered, he basically goes through, his finding out where his crew is, and then after that, it's a matter of going up the mob that the money is tied to. Um, I will say I do like some characters in the movie a little more, but they feel exactly the same in this book, so it's kind of nice. Um, there is one question which I'm not aware of, but it is a book one, and at the end it does hint that there is more stories about this guy Parker. Like I said, I've only seen the movie and didn't know that it was like based on like a novel, and I'm pretty sure a lot of movies are. It's just I had never looked into it, kind of thing. So please, if there was more than just this book, I would be highly interested. I would go buy it myself so I could find out more what happens. What does Parker do once he gets his money, kind of thing. Or if he gets his money. Yeah, he gets his money. That's his money right there. Hey, but that is my review. Big thank you to Ranger Sly. This was a fantastic read. I read it all in one setting. It's not a long or lengthy thing. I want to say it took me maybe like 40 minutes or something like that. But it was fantastic. I love the art. That was probably my favorite thing about it. But that's what I got for you. That is my review. If you've never read this and this was your, if you're into crime, revenge, noir style books, then this might be a high recommendation for you, especially from this guy. That's what I got for you. Alright guys, I will catch you on the flip. I got more reviews coming as always. I got my pickups coming. I'm a little late on that, but they are coming probably Tuesday and Wednesday. Alright guys, I will see y'all later.